So welcome to the Git Workshop. This is Git Checkout 2. A previous Git Workshop was done, I believe, last semester. I was not there, but I have been told. And some of the basics were gone over, including, just setting up stuff on Git and some of the basics, Git status and push and stuff like that, commits. But today we're going to be going over a little bit more of a intermediate kind of stuff in Git. Um, And the first thing I want to start off with, before I even get into any of the main slides, has anyone here ever had a situation where you've had a project or something, some program that you're working on, right? And everything works perfectly fine and everything's just great. And you go, you know what? I want to make this look a little more neat. I want to make it look a little more organized. But you're scared to because you know, and it's pretty sure it's happened to somebody in the past where you try to make it neat or try to make it look organized and you go from a perfectly working program to a broken one, right? Just to make it look neat or just to make a small change and you end up breaking what worked perfectly fine. Anyone ever had an experience like that? We need some feedback.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So now what if you could actually have your project that worked perfectly fine, all the functionality worked, but you wanted to make some changes and there was a fear that you would break something. What if there was a way that you could make whatever changes you wanted without fearing that you're going to break your main project? There actually is a way to do that in Git, and that is called branching, right? Branching, it lets you kind of make a copy of your main project, and you can kind of work on it on the side without breaking your actual project. So you can test stuff, you can try new things, you can add stuff, delete stuff, do whatever you want, right? You can just go crazy basically. But you don't have to have there's no like fear of, oh my God, I'm gonna mess up my main project, right? Um, and just to give a quick summary, I mean, every project obviously has a master branch. That's your main project. And you can branch out by which basically, like I mentioned, it's a copy. And on that branch, you can do whatever you want, as I mentioned. A very good example of this would be the project we are working on currently for SoftDev 2, which is Roster Sniper, and I'll actually show you all that right here. So if I go to rostersniper.com, right, we have this fully functioning website. Learn more, and then you do all this stuff, create account and whatnot, right? Everything here works. Now, obviously, being a website built by students, there's going to be stuff that we're going to need to change, stuff that we're going to need to add and move around. But if we were always working on this website and always having to change stuff and fix stuff, this website would almost literally never be up. It would always be down for one reason or another, right? But it still needs to be worked on with for features. So what do we do for that? We actually have a separate branch, which is on another site called dev.rostersniper.com, right? This is an exact copy of the Roster Sniper website that we have, right? But dev.rostersniper, this is not the one that like users, like consumers, customers would use. This is just for us as our branch website, development branch website, where we can go around, test whatever we want, break whatever we want, do whatever we want. And once we're sure something works perfectly on dev.rostersniper, we can go ahead and then make that part of the main website. And how exactly does that work? Well, that works by something called branching, which we're about to get to. Branching, and then once you're done working, as it shows here, you kind of make your separate workflow, right? You have your main master branch, which is your main, like I mentioned here, the main site. You want to work on it without breaking it, so you kind of make this your separate workflow, which would this be this right here. It's a copy, but it's something you can work on without disturbing this, right? Once you're done with your work and you're sure everything on here works perfectly fine, then you can kind of take that and put it back into the main workflow. You can add that feature here, you can fix that problem here, and people visiting the website, they won't have to sit there and have a website that's down for 7 8 hours a day, a week, you know? And, so the question you might ask is going to be, once you branch, how do you take that work that you've done on your branch and how do you eventually make that part of the main project? Because branching is only to work on something, but eventually everything has to come back to the main project. Everything has to come back to the main master branch, as it's called, right? And that is by two ways. The first way is something called well, here's all the stuff for branching. Sean was actually going to go over this. I'll go over this quickly. There's a few Git commands for branching. Uh, Git branch itself just allows you to view all the branches within your project. So there could be multiple people working on a project. Each person could have their own branch almost, pretty much. Each person could have their own copy that they're working on, essentially. Git branch will let you see all the branches available. If you use Git checkout and then you type in a certain branch, like right here, for example, or right here, Git checkout will let you actually go to whatever branch you want. Git branch dash D will let you delete a branch. This will just simply let you create a new branch. Git checkout dash B, new feature, which is the new branch, essentially. That is one command that will let you create and switch to that branch all in one. So you don't have to git branch created and then check out to go to it separately. You can create and go to it within one command. Um, but now, once you're done, like I mentioned, when you're done with your own personal work on the project, how do you take that and make it part of the master branch again? That is something called git merge. Git merge will let you say, okay, you made your branch, you did your work. Now it's time to take the work that you did and make that part of the main project again, right? Um, Git merge, but the thing with git merge also is you have to be careful because if you merge your branch, right, to the master branch, somebody else merges their branch to the master branch as well. There's going to be conflicts. If the two of you are, for example, working on the same exact thing at the same exact time, you're both working on the same feature. Obviously, you're not going to have the exact same work. Your code might be a little bit different. Something might be a little different. When you merge, there's going to be conflicts. And that's going to be something that you're going to have to always discuss with your team, and you're going to have to resolve the conflicts each time you merge. You're going to have to think about that each time you go to merge, each time you go to branch. You have to know that when you merge back to the master, there's going to be conflicts. There's going to be things you're going to have to discuss and deal with. Um, Git stash is basically when you have something like branching. There's going to be situations for sure where where there's multiple branches on a project, and you end up mistakenly working on the wrong branch. So what Git Stash lets you do is you can actually, when you realize you're working on the wrong branch, for example, you can kind of wipe what you've done, your current work on that branch. You can kind of wipe that, take it, move to another branch, and just kind of set it over there, right? So, for example, um, I was supposed to be working on the dev.roster sniper branch, but say we had another branch that existed, right? We also have one just as a dummy one called tech.roster sniper, for example. Say I wanted to work on the dev.roster sniper branch, but I ended up working on the tech.roster sniper branch for as a mistake. I can use git stash, take whatever work I've done on the tech.roster sniper, wipe it clean off of tech. And move over to the dev.roster sniper branch and then dump the work into that branch. So it's almost like I never worked in the wrong branch, right? It's a way of correcting if you've ended up working in the wrong branch from that was different from the branch that you were supposed to be working in. So git stash, git checkout feature. Um, what it is you're working in the wrong branch right here, right? So you use git stash that takes all your current work, wipes it from the current branch, then git checkout feature. This is like the name of another branch. You would git checkout to that branch, and then you git stash pop. You take the work that you wiped off of that other branch, and then stash pop will take that work and put it in the current branch that you're supposed to be in. Git log. This is by far one of the most important um, aspects of Git, because you have to understand that Git really is a lot about version control, right? It's about when something goes wrong, if something breaks, you can go back. Git lets you uh, figure out where things went wrong. Git lets you kind of keep a track record. It keeps a history of all the commits made. It keeps, it keeps a history of everything done on the project, right? And Git log is a way where you can go through the history of the commits on the project, and by doing so, you can sort of pinpoint exactly where something went wrong, right? And there's several ways you can use Git log to pinpoint. And this is also why, if anybody's in almost any class that has to do with Git, professors will emphasize so much commit frequently, right? The more you commit in a project, the more commits you have, the more it's easier to kind of narrow down and pinpoint exactly where something went wrong. Going back to our roster sniper example, there were times where within an hour, 2 hours, um, I've seen some of the people working on the project commit 60, 70 commits. I'll get on and I'll see 60, 70 commits out of nowhere. Um, and that's why, you should commit frequently, so that when you do Git log, if something breaks, something goes wrong, and you Git log, you know exactly where it went wrong. Now, there's a few things here. Git log graph will just show you the general process, the general progress of the project, right? So this is just regular Git log. This is showing you every commit in the history of the project, right? You can just kind of go back through time with each commit and figure out what was done where, right? Git log graph kind of shows you the progress. As you can see here, this is kind of this also shows you the branches and stuff, your master and all the branches that they've kind of, where they and whatnot and what they did with each one. So it's essentially just like regular Git log, but it shows you the progress of the project as well. Um, this one here, Git log follow p dash dash and then the name of a file, right? This is a file name. This lets you see all the changes made, the historical changes made to a specific file within your project. So what this is used for is, obviously whenever we deal with projects, especially related to Git, you're not working on just one file, right? The project will contain sometimes dozens of files, right? And when you want to know where something went wrong, for example, if a certain feature went wrong, if you know exactly where that feature is coming from, and you know exactly, like not exactly, but you have a general idea of where to look, you can go to that specific file. You can see the log of all the commits made on that file, and then get an idea where to look for where something went wrong, right? You say, okay, something went wrong in this file. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm gonna look at the log for that file and go find where something went wrong within that file. Git log author. Now this one's kind of funny to say, but this is probably one of the most helpful for soft dev projects, soft dev 1 and soft dev 2, because uh, a lot of the times when something goes wrong, generally as soft dev students, for some reason we have this nature of, you working on the project right now, I'll work on it later, and then after I work on it, then you get on work on it. GitLog author will kind of say like, okay, I know you worked on this project last. It was working before you worked on it, and when you worked on it, it broke. So I know that since you worked on it last, I'm gonna go see a log of all the commits you made, so I can track exactly where something broke, right? I don't know exactly which file broke, but I know who worked on it last, and I can go and see what that person did that broke the project, right? And that's just a general um, idea of logs. You can kind of see these are all the commits and all the comments they made in the commits, and The person's slowly going crazy as well as they commit more and more, and they get through the project. Rebasing. I will be 100% honest. Rebasing is something I myself just learned this week. So, not too familiar with it, but I will try my best to actually explain this. I have a general idea, and rebasing. Okay, the best way I can explain rebasing is almost like it's like a plate of food, honestly. Um, so if you have, for example, if you have two plates of food, right? You can take one plate and just put it on top of the other plate, right? And it works. You have this stack of plates. Um, but the thing is, that would number one get kind of messy. Sometimes it could go wrong. Uh, it's just not something that really. It's not the cleanest way to do it, right? Or what you can do is you can just take the food from one plate and you can put the food into the other plate. And now you just have one plate that has all the food without getting messy by stacking actual plates on top of each other, actual plates full of food on top of each other. And that's probably a terrible analogy, but that's just what my brain came up with. That's kind of how rebasing is. Um, yeah, my brain just came up with that randomly, and I was like, that makes sense to me. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else.
I think it's an
Um,
interesting analogy, and we can probably like develop that further, so that can make sense.
yeah. Um, but if I explain what rebasing is, it'll probably make more sense. Basically, so branching is you have like the master branch, and then you have your branch, right? You have this and you have this. And then what merging does, I'm sorry. Merging is basically it'll take the branch and it'll kind of merge it or combine it with the master branch. You're combining branches. And obviously if I had something where I could draw right here, it would be a lot easier to kind of showcase, but I'm terrible at drawing, so I'm not gonna attempt it. Um I guess paint, right? Okay, so where is my okay, there you go. I don't know what okay. So let's say this is your master branch, right? And this has, some work in it. And now this is a branch. These proportions are terrible. This is your branch that you made where you're going to be working on, right? And this has, for example, this has your work in it. Well, let's make this one look a little organized. Branching is going to take this branch and combine it right here, right? Rebasing is not going to deal with combining branching. Rebasing is going to take the work from this branch and is going to combine it with the work inside this branch. Does that make any sense? So,
To me, yes.
so merging is a combination of branches, whereas rebasing is simply moving work over from one branch to another. Right. So,
So what's being preserved?
Can I say something?
I'm missing something here.
of
Yeah.
course.
Okay, so um, I think what Safi is missing to say when you rebase is um, keeps the commits. So in the merge, it takes all the commits from the branch and makes into one commit on the master. But in
Hmm.
rebase, uh, the commits that you had in your branch, they remain intact and they just stack up onto the master.
Okay, I see what's happening. Yeah, again,
Yeah.
I just learned about rebasing
Right.
yesterday, so
And I think Mr. Mustard has a question.
yeah. What was your question?
Was there a question?
That's what I was trying to, I guess, trying to understand is what, I guess, the difference between the rebase and the merge. They sound like very similar, but they handle the commits differently.
Right.
Yeah.
So the commits remain the same. Like all the commits from the branch will come and stack up on the master. So you'll have the individual commits in master. Because when you
To
do a merge, they collapse. When you do a merge, you get only one commit. It collapses all the commits from the branch and makes one commit. So you actually lose the you cannot keep track of those individual commits anymore.
to to put it in I guess layman student terms, because of how I understood it, maybe student to student would make sense. Um, Merging is literally like you have another branch coming in, and it's like, okay, that was a branch. We kind of, it's kind of coming into this. We're combining it with this branch. Rebasing is almost as if another branch didn't even exist. It's almost like you are working directly in, that current branch. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Merge is just
Because-
like merge is just we're taking that work and we're adding it here. Rebase is almost like, oh, all the work was done in here in the first place, right? Again, that's really layman student terms, and it's kind of a terrible explanation.
I would like to
But
see the plate analogy, like have like several plates and they have food on them and you stack them up. Actually, the rebasing is stacking them up, and merging is like scraping all the food from different plates and piling them up on on a single plate.
hmm.
So we should
Yeah,
make
because
it.
merging, you will just end up with one stack, right? You will just end up with technically one stack of plates, because
No, one
you
plate,
don't
just one plate. You
one
just
plate.
scrape
I'm
all the
sorry.
food and put it
Yeah,
on one plate.
yeah, I just mixed the two. Merging, you just have one plate, right? And it's just all the food in one plate. Whereas rebasing, you have this stack of plates where it's just kind of like you still have all your commits, you still have everything. Right, you never lost that. It's easy to tell that these are separate places or separate commits of work. Whereas when you merge, you can't really tell that anymore. Right? You can't tell there was separate commits. You can't go back. If something, for example, if something goes wrong after a merge, um, and you try to log and figure out what went wrong, good luck. There's gonna be a lot, there's gonna be a lot to try to
Yeah,
go back
that
and
makes
figure
sense.
out. Yeah.
It's like
Um,
cleaning out your closet.
yeah, so rebasing is actually better. We'll have a few sort of challenge questions at the end of this. Um, and using what Dr. Ganai just explained, there'll be a challenge of, do you merge or do you rebase, right? Um, by using Git rebase, for example, we can reduce the clutter and create a single line for our master log. You don't have branches with a bunch of different stuff. It just all kind of comes within the same workflow after that. Um, this continues. Git rebase, how it works. Um, Yeah, so this is just kind of what I explained, right? You're basing feature on a master. You don't apply the changes to master. You create brand new copies of those changes. Um, I set the new head to the latest commit on master as if the feature branch had never existed, right? All the commits. So not with branch, just the work moves over, but you can tell a branch existed because it's all in one commit, right? You can tell, okay, everything was done in one commit. There was a branch here. Rebase, because all the commits also move over, it's almost like all the work was done within the master in the first place.
That's very nice. Actually, stay that on that figure for a second, Safi.
Uh-huh.
So now on the figure you can see like F1 and F2 became C1 and C2, so they moved. So it's like grafting that branch, like the branch was somewhere and then you move the branch onto master and becomes part of master. So so Sean did have like this nice graph in here.
Hmm. So this is kind of the steps you would take to rebase something. You'd switch to the new feature branch, then you get rebase master, fix whatever conflicts you need, check out master, then rebase new feature. And one question, Dr. Ganai, I did have yesterday that I wasn't able to figure out, and there was two other people that were also confused about it when I asked them, what would be the get rebase new feature? Why does this need to be done? Like get rebase of the branch after you check out master.
That's interesting. So switch to the new feature branch and you rebase it on master. That's actually moving all the commits onto master.
Hmm.
Then they go back onto master. Um,
The only way I was able to understand this is when the workshop comes up, is that if we are rebasing in the workshop, we would have to rebase back to the new feature because, or back to the branch because there's multiple people that need to do those same steps,
Okay, so I think
right?
I need
So
to
it's kind
draw
of
this.
resetting.
I need to draw this too because what's happening is that the second rebase is actually a merge. And what happens is that, okay, so you had the master, and
Yeah.
then you moved a new feature on top of master. But what happened now is that master is behind because,
Hmm.
new features on top of master, but master's pointer is still pointing to the old place. So if you go, Dr. Anka is echoing us. Dr. Anka, please mute yourself. Did she mute herself?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. um, so if you go back to your the diagram, it's a couple of slides back, Sophie.
Yes. Right
So
here.
in here, so example, so we did the rebase, and rebase will get the white feature commit onto the green version, right? So it's going to move over there.
Hmm.
But you know, master didn't change. Master is still pointing to the past. So it's now it's like a linear line, but the pointer of master is still in the back. So the
Yeah. The
last
head.
huh?
The head, basically.
The head, yeah. So the last rebase is telling master to rebase itself on top of the feature, which means master should now move all of his commits on top of the feature, but the master doesn't have any extra commits. So all it does is that it moves the pointer of the master to the same place as the feature.
So yeah, so the only way I was able to kind of figure out why this is get rebase new feature would be that if there's multiple people, like on the workshop we're doing, for example, if there's multiple people, you don't want to finalize that rebase because other people are gonna have to come in and attempt to do the same thing.
No, no, no. This is an update command. So if you don't do this, your master is not going to be up to date with the branch. It's going to be behind the branch.
So you have to do this
You have to
after.
do this so that you bring the pointer of the master to the tip of the feature branch, which is now the
Oh,
master, new master.
So by doing so right here,
Yes,
our pointer is right here, but by doing that, at the ending, our pointer will be over here,
correct,
essentially.
correct.
Okay,
Did everyone
okay.
understand that, Asho and Mr. Mustard?
I don't quite get it, but there's a lot more people on here. I don't know if they
A lot
understand.
more people,
If somebody doesn't get something, speak up and say you don't get it.
but Asho
Because
didn't get it, so you should go over it again
yeah.
and ask. Asho, you should ask questions. And Lillian is here too. Welcome, Lillian. And Gert Mercy.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Quite a few people joined since we started.
Hello. This is Jeremiah, by the way, after Ganai.
Hello.
Oh yeah,
So,
Jeremiah. I remember your nick.
My unique name.
so the way this would work, essentially, you're rebasing. So basically, you go out on a branch, right? And so you have M1, M2, M3. These are changes made on the master branch right here. Your separate branch out of that is doing F1 and F2, right? When you rebase, you're gonna take what you did in F1 and F2. You're gonna take those changes that you made, those commits, whatever. You move those commits and changes onto or the features onto the master branch. However, your pointer on the master branch is still back here on M3. It's not over here with these two new features that were added, right? So since you're still over here, you would actually rebase this onto your feature branch, and that would kind of essentially move the pointer or have point towards the most latest feature um, that was added. That makes sense. I think I explained that
Yeah, I understand it now. Thank you.
decently. It'll make a lot more sense when you do the challenges in a little bit. Uh, yeah, there's some advantages. I believe Mr. Mustard asked like, what's the point of rebasing? Because it's basically the same. And here's the answer to that: because the Git log number one remains intact or remains clean. Um, it gets easier to track bugs, Dr. Gunn I mentioned, because all the commits move over with it. Using something like Git bisect. Because all the commits move over, you can track specifically where if something goes wrong. Um, and it's easier to resolve conflicts while rebasing because, like I mentioned. all the commits move over, and you can kind of pinpoint if something needs fixing. But the one thing you don't want to do, if there's obviously in the industry, if you're in an office and there's you're working online, whatever, if there's multiple people and there's multiple people working on a project, you probably don't want to use rebase. At that point, you want to branch and merge instead of branch and rebase. Merging, it works better if there's multiple people. Rebase works better if you're just kind of doing something on your own, or if there's only like one or two people, for example.
Are you gonna explain
Anything?
why that is?
I didn't get to go too much into it.
Is there a slide about it?
There could be. I mean, we have like example questions and stuff, and I guess that would answer. Git merge and git rebase are both methods of adding code from one branch to another. There's a scenario now. You want to apply changes from your new branch to the master branch. Do you merge or do you rebase? I need feedback from the audience.
You merge.
Anybody else?
I think it's wrong. But
Anybody agree or disagree?
wait, do you rebase because it's a new feature from another branch, right?
New feature is the name of the branch. We just
Okay,
yeah, so it just you want to apply changes from your branch to your master basically.
so that means you just merge. I don't know.
The answer is it depends. So again, like I mentioned, if you're the only person working on it, Git rebase would work better. There's multiple people, Git merge works better. And as far as how or why, I think I would kind of turn that over to Dr. Ganai to explain because I am not too familiarized with the technical side of it.
I'll be happy to explain. Is there another slide explaining what's happening?
I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
think
all
he
we
has some more
have.
stuff, but maybe explain those and I'll explain after that.
No, this is just what it is. Basically, it just shows rebase if you're forever alone and merge if you're in a team. That's all it says. So,
Okay.
like, if you look at rebasing, it's really just one person making all the commits, right? Guy, everything, right? Um, but like, if you have a team of people and there's like, you know, this guy's making a change, this dude's making a change, this person making a change, etc. You would just merge.
Okay, so let me try to explain what's happening. So, solo branch, solo commit. So I don't. So on the left. So what happened was that there were some features, and where you see solo commit and solo branch are the rebase, the result of the rebasing, right? So they're actually they came over to master, and they get the commits stayed intact when they came onto master. And on the right, I guess I assume the group branch is like a merge commit at some point.
Hmm.
So the whole
And
thing.
also, with the merge, if you notice, each person here, I mean, with the exception of these bottom two, each person here is making one commit, and that'll just tell you that it's a merge, right? Because it's unlikely that this person worked on something and only had one commit when they were working. But because they merged their branch, as Dr. Ganai mentioned, they merged their branch, so it only showed it up as one commit, even regardless of all the work they did. This person's work all came up as one commit. This person's work all came up as one commit, one commit, one commit, and so
So
on.
so actually the left one is the rebase and right one is the merge.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this person all had like several commits, but they all stayed there. These
All right.
people, each one had one commit. I mean, each one had multiple commits in their own branch, but when they merged, each person only showed up as one commit.
So go back to that diagram again. I like that diagram to tell you like what's happening. This one. Okay, so everyone, so the reason the rebase doesn't work with multiple people or creates a problem is because it's changing the history of Git. So as now think like multiple people are working on that feature, the white one, the F1 and F2, right? and you've been like committing stuff to it. Now suddenly if one person does the rebase, the feature branch is now suddenly going to move and it's going to have those new commits in there, including M2 and M3. But those are not onto the top of the tip of the branch, but they are in the past of the branch, right? So it's going to be like hidden under the two commits C1 and C2. Now when one person does this, the rest of the teammates, can they get this as an update? Because they think their feature is in the white location. But when they try to pull, Git is going to tell them that the features are not matching anymore, and it's going to tell that the history changed. You have 2 commits extra, and they have 2 commits in the past, and now we need to do like a merge or something. But that wasn't the point of the rebase, right? The rebase was try to merge something onto master. But when you do rebase, you're changing the history of that branch. And if there are other people on that branch still trying to do stuff, you are completely messing them up. It's like you're cutting the branch under their feet. Like they're standing on that branch and you're cutting that branch under their feet. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, anyone has questions about that? So I guess that's the advice from Sean, that if you have multiple people working on the same branch, it's better not to rebase. But it's much cleaner if you have each person have their own feature branch, they work on the feature, and then they can rebase it.
So now we're open up for questions and comments, and this is just a little comic that is very true about Git. So it's this guy showing somebody, it's like, yo, this is Git. It tracks collaborative work on projects through a beautiful distributed graph theory tree model. Cool. How do we use it? No idea. Just memorize a bunch of shell commands and type them to sync up. If you get errors, save your work elsewhere, delete the project, and download a fresh copy. That's that's basically how you'd explain Git to somebody who has no idea what it is. But yeah, questions and comments, anybody? Time for the mini games. So, uh, copy link address. Put this in here. Yeah. So it has been recorded. So I would like everyone to go to that link. Click on this link here. I'll go through it with you. Just sending you to yes. Is everyone on that? Upvote that when you've opened the link, so I know everybody here has opened it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay, cool.
Sophie, I had to move to a computer that doesn't have Git Bash. Is it all right if I just watch
Of
for
course,
now?
of course.
Okay.
Whenever you get to a computer that does have Git Bash, you can just message me on Discord. I'll walk you through it.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem. You're welcome. Okay, so instructions before we start the challenges. This stuff is fairly simple, but for anyone who is having trouble, I will just walk you through this really quickly. Fork this repository to your own account. So that will be right here. You would click this. And then you would click, well, I've already done this, so, but when you click on fork, it'll kind of show your username, your Git username right here, and kind of your repository. Just click that, and then it should fork it to your repository. Clone your personal fork. So I go right here and I go to the Git games. When you fork this over to yourself and you get right here, to clone, you would right click right here and copy the link. So, or just do this, copy that, right? And then you would open up, or just go to your actual desktop right here. Let me delete this. do it again. Git bash, open up Git bash, and then type in git clone, and then paste the link right after that, the link that you copied, and you hit enter, and it will when you hit enter after typing git clone and the link, it'll actually create this folder. I've already done it, so it says fatal, but it will make this folder. When you do it and you see this folder come up on your desktop, click it and make sure it does have everything. It should have everything in here. So 1 second. So let me just get into that.
Hello.
Hello?
Oh, sorry to, I guess stop. But so
No problem.
I'm downloading Git Bash right now, and right here for the editor, which one should I use? It's like defaulted to Vim, but I'm pretty sure Vim's like a bit harder to use.
You can use Nano.
Nano.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing Nano.
You can use Vim, and then we'll just export editor within the terminal. And,
Okay.
yeah.
So Git from and then here Git from the command line and also from third-party software for the installment.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't
Now,
gone through the
Flowerball,
installation process in a while.
do you have any other editors on your computer like Notepad++?
I've got Visual Studio Code. I've got I think I have Notepad plus plus. Yeah, I
So
believe
Visual
I have
Studio Code
that.
doesn't show up on there?
Yeah. I'll go back in Notepad plus plus then.
No, Visual Studio Code should also work.
Oh, okay, yeah. Use as gets. Yeah, okay, I got it.
All right.
Thank you.
So yeah, the easier way to do this, I will close this. Does everyone, can I get some feedback? Does everyone have this on their desktop now when you've cloned?
I do.
You do? Okay. So to get or to start.
I'm, u-
Huh?
I'm using an Apple device. Is it going to mess up my files or something?
No. You're only working within this right here. It shouldn't affect anything else. From what I know. Yeah. Be fine. So
Can you? Sorry again. Can you one more time? I just opened Git Bash. It just finished installing. What was the command line you typed before the link?
oh yeah, so let me delete this, and then so what you do is you click here on Git,
Right.
you copy this, right?
Right.
Copy. Go to your desktop, Git Bash here.
All right.
All right, then type in Git clone, and then you paste the link. And I'm not sure if I might have there you go.
Git
So
clone.
Git space clone, and then you paste the link.
Hmm. And a folder appears on your desktop, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm there.
Yeah. So now, generally you could Dr. Ganache, should I show them how to get into the folder directly from the terminal, or should I just go the easy route?
Show both of them.
Okay. So there's two ways. Generally the easier way is to actually right click here and then git bash right in the folder, you know? You right click the folder and git bash inside of it. Or the I guess proper way would actually be like you're on desktop and you're still in here from use your git clone. Now on your desktop, wherever you're at in your computer, if you're on terminal, wherever you're at, you just type ls. When you hit ls, it'll bring up the sort of directory of everything that's in the location where you're at, all the folders and files within the location that you're at, right? So these are kind of all the stuff that's on my desktop because I'm in desktop. I typed ls and it pulled up a list of everything that I have, right? Now I know that I need to get to the Git Games Workshop, right? to go to anything from where you're at, it has to obviously be something within where you're at. You type in cd. CD means change directory, base, and then you would look at from your ls list. You look at something in here that you want to change to. cd space. I want to get here, so git dash games dash workshop 2 /. And then when I hit enter, now I am working within the Git Games Workshop 2 folder. Is that clear, or does that need some explanation? Please do let me know.
It's clear on my end.
Okay. So now that that's now comes the challenges. Okay. These are kind of as you complete each challenge, submit a pull request. Make sure you fetch. Okay, we have to go through steps 3 and 4. The first thing you want to do within this before you do pretty much anything is type this: git fetch is it dash dash all? Yes, dash dash all. So git fetch dash dash all. Do that. Fetches your origin. Now, as you complete each challenge, submit a pull request. How pull requests work is you would go onto the GitHub website, or basically go right here, go to pull requests, click new pull request, and then you would click compare across forks. You click compare across forks. There is, I believe, Dr. Goodnight, correct me if I'm wrong, I would click my personal fork, right?
Correct.
Okay. Uh, right, so again, you click pull requests, compare across forks, and then click right here on the right side of the arrow, head repository, your own personal fork of the project. And then when you do that, that will create, there should be a button that says create pull request. It should do it by itself, but there will be a button to create pull request.
You already have one. That's why it's saying view.
For mine it says there isn't anything to compare.
Well, we haven't
Okay.
done anything. Yeah. So challenge 1: merge a branch with master. Yeah, I will go ahead and put the slides in the I will stop sharing my screen. As is mentioned in the slides, if you actually type in git branch, just git branch, it shows you that's interesting. Does git branch not? Oh, there you go. Git branch dash A. Yeah, git branch dash A shows you all the branches that exist within the project, and one of them is called merge me. That branch, to switch to it, you type in git checkout merge me.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, let's get back to the master branch real quick. One second, hold on. Yeah, okay, good. Wait a second. Merge me. So, because when I checked out merge me, right, it made a new branch. Okay, so to merge, okay, yeah. So the merge me branch already exists, just merge. So it'd just be git merge, and then merge me. That's basically it. So git merge me. You type that in and hit enter, and it will merge the merge me branch with master. When you do that, as mentioned, commit, push, go to GitHub and create the pull request.
Before we push, we have to go to master, right? From merge me to master and then commit.
Shouldn't you be in master to merge? If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so you'd go to master, then you within master you type git merge me, and then once you do that you commit push and then go to GitHub and pull request.
So I'm in the git bash for trying to do the merge me to the master, and I'm in the master. So I typed in git checkout master, which I guess switched me to the master branch, correct?
When you first go to, so you right click and git bash in the folder, right?
Git in the what folder?
Oh, like on your
Oh, the git.
desktop you have the git games. Okay, so within that, when you git bash on a folder, you're on the project folder, you're automatically in master. So all you have to really do is just type in git merge me.
Okay, so I typed in git merge me, and then it
Yeah.
says I got a I guess what's the word, output that
Response,
says
yeah.
response that says please tell me who you are. Run, and then it says get config global user email, global username.
You type in your you have a GitHub account?
Yes.
So you just type that in basically.
Okay.